3, it's the farewell game for the Sox in Cleveland in this series. The Indians winners of the first 2 as we come to you from Progressive Field on the shores of Lake Erie. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And some days the names on the marquee are the big draw, and that's the case today. Corey Kluber against Reynaldo Lopez.
Very exciting pitching matchup, and they're sending their 2-time Cy Young Award winner against our Sox today. Corey Kluber has been all everything this year, although last time out he threw it very well against a hard-hitting Houston team. However, he had nothing to show for it and no decision. Wasn't his fault, however. The bullpen fell apart, as so often happens with the Tribe this year. Kluber at 7-2, his ERA 2.17. What a magnificent pitcher he is. He's doing everything right for the Tribe, and the Tribe is not doing quite as much as they were thought to happen at this point in the season.
They've won the first 2 of this series. Reynaldo Lopez trying to stop that. He's got a top 10 ERA in the American League.
Ronaldo's been throwing very well. Last time out, no exception, yet he only has 1 win to show for it. But the ERA below 3. And he's got a big fastball. It's upwards of 98 miles an hour. He doesn't lose much as the performance moves along. And last time out against the Tigers, it was a typical good performance for him. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. But he held them pretty much right there and allowed his team to stay in the game for a long time. So hopefully today he gets a win, but it's a tall order against Kluber.
Yeah, he's going to face a very front-loaded lineup for Cleveland.
When you look at their lineup, you realize it all happens at the top. Now, today, Lindor is not in the lineup, but last night, unfortunately, he was. And when you take a look at last night, you realize that the guys in the middle benefited from the guys on top getting on base. Lindor, Brantley, and Ramirez, 7 for 13 with a couple of home runs, 5 driven in. They haven't exactly been a soul-wrecking crew, but they've done a good job of getting on base and letting the big guys drive them home. Ramirez hit a home run last night, and he's got 16 this year. So he's been all everything for this lineup. And with Lindor out, we're going to see Gonzalez at shortstop.
Runs could be at a premium today. Lopez versus Kluber, the aces of the staffs. Sox and Indians on the way, game number 3.
Toyota. Tested. Trusted. Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Boy, they can really move here in Cleveland. Sox and Indians, game number 3. It's a day game, and we have 2 dynamic pitchers on the mound. Corey Kluber has taken the hill for his team, and he will face Reynaldo Lopez for the White Sox, with these guys trying to support Reynaldo. It's the White Sox lineup brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. The best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. 2 switch hitters at the top. 2 left-handers behind Abreu. Narvaez, another lefty, batting 7th. Engel and Thompson 8th and 9th.
The defensive setup for the Indians, presented by UI Health and sent out there by Terry Francona. It's Brantley, Allen, and Cabrera in the outfield, with Ramirez, Gonzalez, Kipnis, and Alonso in the infield. Yan Gomes gets a nod behind the plate, and Alexis Experience amazing starting pitcher is an amazing starting pitcher. Corey Kluber on for his 12th start. He's 7-2 his ERA. A microscopic 217. You look at strikeouts per innings pitched, that's very good. He's only walked 10 of them, given up 58 hits. So when you talk about dominant starters, you're looking at one right there in Corey Kluber. 2-time Cy Young Award winner, bidding for his 3rd this year. And the way he's throwing the ball now, and the fact that the Indians have not started to play consistent baseball, you would think he would have the inside track at that. The umpires for the game this afternoon: Tim Timmons has the plate, Rob Drake is at first, Mike Winters, the crew chief, at second, and Mike Muchlinski is at third. So a beautiful day for baseball. The wind not a factor, as we look at a man with 13 consecutive winning seasons, over 500 seasons for Terry Francona. That dates back to his Boston days. That was his 2nd managerial job. The Philadelphia Phillies were his 1st. And you look at the flags, not much to talk about here. And the good news is that although the weather forecast said a whole lot of rain as late as last night, the Rains are going to hold off. There will be baseball, and the Sox will be able to complete this 3-game series, hopefully with a big win against an awesome pitcher.
Corey Kluber, Steve, has gone 23 consecutive starts without allowing 4 runs or more.
That's incredibly impressive.
Strike 1 to Yoan Moncada. We are underway from Cleveland. Thanks for joining us this lovely Wednesday afternoon.
Kluber has always had pinpoint control. He doesn't have an overwhelming fastball, but with his other stuff, it's still plenty good.
I think it's safe to say he is the best pitcher in the American League that doesn't pitch for the Houston Astros.
I would think he would be right up there.
1-1. It's inside, 2 balls and a strike. I mean, Justin Verlander's ERA coming into today, which is the major league lead, is at 1.11.
Verlander's been remarkable, but when you look at Houston at 35-21 and the Indians at 28-25, you realize that he's got a better supporting cast than the Tribe.
On the ground and through, base hit for Yoan Moncada with his first career hit against Corey Kluber in 10 tries. And here is what Kluber will throw. He throws all of them for strikes, and they're confounding, mostly fastball, then the cutter that he relies on.
The curveball is outstanding because it comes in almost straight and then just dives. Most curveballs have a loop in it. Most guys can't throw it as hard as Kluber can or get the rotation that he gets. Changeups very infrequently, but the cutter's been a good pitch, especially to the left-handers. And what the Sox will try to do, as they try to do most every day, is run against this combination. Although Kluber is from the extreme first base side of the pitching rubber, giving him kind of an inside track on that move to first base.
He'll face Yolmer Sanchez, who's seen Kluber for 25 at-bats in his career. And there's ball 1.
See right there where he sets up? Half his foot is on the rubber, half no contact. But he feels he gets a much better angle on inside pitches to left-hand hitters throwing from where he throws.
Two 2-0 on Sanchez. Kluber has gone 3 straight starts without walking a batter, but so far in this game, 6 pitches, 2 strikes only. Get him out of there. Can't throw a strike. Go to the bullpen.
Or trade him while he's cold.
Always a good strategy. 2-1 on Sanchez.
Last year, Kluber led the league with a 2.25 ERA and 18-4 year. Most amazing part of Kluber to this point is he's never won 20 games. The most he's ever won is 18, and he's done that twice.
Well, he's the poster child then for advanced stats in terms of pitching, because he deserves to have won 30 games certain years.
Yeah, he's been overwhelming.
Sanchez with a foul bunt, 2-2.
That time Yuan took a false break at first base, probably realized he didn't get a particularly good start. And there is no doubt what home teams have done for a long time when they face a faster team than they have, and our ball club is faster than the Tribe up and down this lineup, they'll make it a little extra wet around first base, giving the catchers and the pitcher a bit of an advantage over the base stealers.
Two balls and 2 strikes. And a throw to first on Moncada. Sox lead Major League Baseball with 47 stolen bases.
You would think Yuan would be off to the races here. He was measuring Kluber this at bat. Kluber's got a better move than he just showed. And the lead by Moncada is a bit more than the previous lead.
He does not go, and Sanchez hacks it foul.
Well, Kluber that time used a slide step, and that was the first time he had done it in this at bat, but he got rid of it very quickly. If a pitcher can deliver the baseball in 1.3 seconds to home plate, that's major league average. Anything below that, with a catcher who can get it glove to glove, leather to leather in 2 seconds or less, it's very difficult to run.
Another foul ball. Sanchez making him work. He will see a 7th pitch in the sequence. Two balls and 2 strikes from 32-year-old Corey Kluber. Another throw on Moncada.
Kluber came over in a 3-way deal. He was with San Diego. Jake Westbrook, the principal from the Indians, he went to St. Louis. What a deal that was for the Tribe.
Little did they know, though. I mean, even dating back to 2012, there was some question as to whether or not Kluber would turn into this guy. Swing and a miss, strike 3, 1 down.
That was one of the few changeups that Corey Kluber is going to throw, but it was very effective after a steady diet of high breaking balls and fastballs. Good change. Yomer well out in front of this one. Now, when he first got here, there was little to suspect that he would be this Corey Kluber. In the minor leagues, he was pedestrian, if anything else, and he came over here, getting an opportunity that second year in 2012 at 2-5 with a 5.14 ERA and 12 starts. But something happened, because 2013 he went 11-5 and then off to the races from there.
There was some question as to whether or not he'd even be a starting pitcher. He was struggling in AAA. Jose Abreu has been a foil for him, though. Jose with tied for the 3rd most hits career against Kluber of any batter, and part of that certainly is the division. But 16 hits all time against Kluber for Abreu. Tapped foul, 0-2. The guy who has the most hits career against Kluber and the most at bats as well is Miguel Cabrera, who's 23 for 60 against him with 6 home runs. Abreu with 5 homers.
Everybody has a hitter or two, and sometimes 10 or 15 that they can't get out. Miguel Cabrera has terrorized a whole lot of pitchers, but not many to the tune of what he's done against Corey Kluber. Kluber 9-4 lifetime against our Sox with an ERA of 3.19. I love the 0-2 pitch to run, but you got to watch the good pickoff move.
There he goes. Swing and a miss. Throw to second is right there. It's a strike him out, throw him out, double play, and it's like the hit didn't even happen for Corey Kluber. He works his way out of early trouble, and Lopez to the mound next. At the top of the card for the first time this year, Lindor is out, but the next three have been dangerous in the series, along with Alonso at the 5 spot. Our old friend Melky, and Eric Gonzalez gets his first start in the series.
Defensive setup for our Sox, presented by UI Health and put out there by Ricky Renteria. It's Trace, Adam, and Daniel in the outfield, with Yolmer, Tim, Yohan, and Jose in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Ronaldo Lopez, looking for his second win. His ERA below 3. Rest of the numbers very good. Only 45 hits and 61 1/3. His batting average against historically is very good, and right-handers hitting just 188, so they've done nothing with that. Anywhere from 96 to 98 mile-an-hour fastball. So you do have to watch the bunt with Allen, and with that in mind, Yolmer is in on the grass at third base.
Lopez, first pitch is called a strike. 0-1 to Allen, who gets his 60th at bat of the year, with Lindor getting a day off. Lopez, after that rough start in Pittsburgh, he was 2 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. Ricky Renteria mentioned that he felt like Lopez could have better focus, among other things, on the mound, and since then 15 innings, 2 earned runs.
I think the biggest factor in that, we talked about it at the time, was the fact that he was facing the same team less than a week apart, and they knew exactly what he threw, and he didn't adjust, and they did.
His velocity was down in that start too, for whatever reason.
Here you look at the last couple of starts, with just 7 hits in 15 innings.
On the ground, Moncada slides over there, gets up quickly, and cannot make the play. Tough play, good range, infield single.
Good effort by Yuan as he slides to his right. But Allen has great speed, and especially from the left side, where he's absolutely a step quicker, it's tough to throw him out. You get a whole lot of guys in this league with that play, but not Allen.
So one on for one of the most dangerous hitters in Major League Baseball right now, Michael Brantley. Is above 340 batting average wise. His OPS is 953 on base plus slugging. Three hits yesterday for Brantley. And he takes a strike.
In both games in this series, he's extended his hitting streak the first time at bat.
18 consecutive games with a hit for Michael Brantley, the longest in baseball this year, tied with Wilson Ramos. There goes Allen, and Brantley fouls it away, 0-2. 18 straight. There you see the tie with Ramos, the only one on that board that's active, although Lindor had 15 earlier this year as well.
Brantley against right-handers has hit .362. So he certainly punishes them. 25 of his 36 runs batted in have come against right-handers, and of course that's how he looks out at Lopez.
Throw to first. Allen back. Nothing in 2 on Michael Brantley. Cleveland team yesterday pounded out 15 hits, including a 2-run first inning. It was 4 straight hits in the first from Brantley, Ramirez, Encarnacion, and Alonso to score those runs and cause trouble early for Lucas Giolito.
Outfield straight away from Brantley, who is one of the team leaders on this club.
One, 2. Allen's off, and another foul ball left side from Brantley.
There was a slider from Lopez. Brantley was able to foul it off. Indians come in 3 games above 500, 4.5 game lead over Detroit and Minnesota. That stretches to 5 games in the loss column over the Tigers and 7 games in the loss column over the Twins.
That is through, a base hit. It's a slow roller. However, Allen doesn't try to go to third. 2 on in a hurry for Cleveland on a couple of ground balls.
Kind of surprised that Allen did not go to third, because that ball just barely got through the infield. And he is very fast. So Brantley, for the 3rd straight game, extends his hitting streak in his first at bat. He decides to stay right there, not wanting to risk the first out at third base, and leave it to the middle of the order.
Longest hit streak in Major League Baseball all alone now. Michael Brantley. And Ramirez, who's been so productive this year and with 3 hits in the series, 16 home runs to his name. Hit well to right field. Polka is there. Allen tags. And he is into third. So Ramirez kept in the ballpark. Runners at the corners with 1 out. So now you got a chance at a double play with Encarnacion coming up, and Lopez having induced 2 ground balls that did turn into hits, but a couple ground balls nonetheless.
Encarnacion has grounded into 5 double plays this year. That's second on the team, surprisingly, in back of Michael Brantley's 6.
.35-year-old Edwin Encarnacion. The foul ball, and your point about Allen not making it to third on the ground ball base hit from Brantley. If he does, that ends up being an RBI for Ramirez, and it's not.
And now a situation where a double play does get you out of the inning. Moncada just on the third base side of second in the shift.
So you'd imagine Lopez would pitch him where, considering the shift?
Well, they'd like to throw him sliders away, that if he can hit out there. But if he goes in, you've got to go in and you've got to go up. If he goes down and in, he can get the bat on, and they're going in. Let's see if he gets it up.
Runners off from first, and Brantley will have to go back on the foul ball.
That one was a touch inside, not quite as inside as he would have liked, as Encarnacion able to foul it off. Brantley just 2 stolen bases this year, 2 of 4. So he doesn't run often. Tribe with 29 steals, caught 12 times. When you have this kind of thunder in your lineup, and they've got 5 guys with 30 or more runs batted in this year, you don't want to run yourself into too many outs.
This ball kicks away, and Cleveland's going to get a run. Allen scores. Brantley to second.
Third wild pitch for Ronaldo. It's 32 wild pitches for Sox pitching staff. And it plates the first run.
Double play out of order. Encarnacion checks his swing and doesn't go, according to Rob Drake at first. 3-2. Down low, ball 4, 2 on, 1 out for Yonder Alonso. No movement from Don Cooper on the bench.
Alonso's been a good fastball hitter, especially early in the count. Slow breaking balls have kind of mystified him. Ronaldo does not have a slow hook or a slow slider. Everything he throws is pretty much the same speed except for that change.
Ball 1 on Alonso. This is now 3 of the 6 games on the road trip that the opponent has scored in the first inning. It's been a problem this year for the Sox.
Overall, a huge problem.
This is why you show up right at the top of the hour, though. You alerted everybody to the fact that the top of the order was going to possibly sting you for this Cleveland lineup. Now, Lindor out, but still the damage done.
Terry Francona's definitely stacked the top of this lineup with his best guys. And they do have some speed at the top to go with a whole lot of power and just flat out good hitters. There's looking one of baseball's best, Terry Francona. Lost his pitching coach over the winter, Mickey Callaway. Now managing the Mets. Was a terrific pitching coach. They've got Carl Willis, who has been around a long time and is a good pitching coach in his own right.
2-1. Caught nicely by Omar for strike 2.
Terry Francona has said that if you wait to August to give your guys days off, it's not going to work because they're already exhausted.
With that in mind, Lindor out of the lineup today. Allen leads off with a single and a run.
And that's what Terry has decided to do with his guys. Get them rest early. Get them rest as often as he sees fit. But making sure that when it comes time to get into postseason play, his team is going to be healthy. They're going to be rested and they're going to be ready to go. And that's a man with a whole lot of experience pulling the right strings here in Cleveland.
Two balls, two strikes. Line toward left center and down. Brantley had to wait. He's not going to score. Engel had a long way to go from right center, and it's the third single of the inning.
That's safety first base running, but there's no way in the world Adam Engel catches this ball, because Michael Brantley knows the ball is slicing away from Engel, but he decides that he doesn't want to risk it. So now meeting at the mound, and there's some early problems as Don Cooper goes out there with his young right-hander.
You know, it's interesting there for Brantley. I mean, Melky Cabrera has been the guy in the lineup that has not had a very good series. Not that Melky isn't capable of driving in runs, but you've just gone through the top five, and you might think about chancing it there.
Well, I thought he should have, because I don't think he got a good read on it. But the thing with Melky is he didn't sign until the 25th of April. So he had no spring training whatsoever, only had 10 games in the minor leagues. And he had an out in his contract if he wasn't called to the big leagues on June 1st. And so he's come up here. Essentially, this is the early part of spring training for Melky, and he's been a double play machine in this series.
To center field, Engel moving back on it, and Brantley will tag this time. Encarnacion into third. Second run scores on the Melky Cabrera sacrifice fly. Now you're getting into danger territory, because Kluber just doesn't give up 4 runs. You give up one more, and it's going to most likely have to come against the bullpen.
Well, that's exactly what happened last time, as he handcuffed Houston into the 7th inning. Left with a lead, only to see his bullpen squander it. And Gipnis has been hitting the ball better in this series than he's hit it all year.
First pitch, very close, wasn't called a strike, 1-0.
Now that was a good pitch. And the one thing in this series we've seen from the umpires, they have not given the inside corner to any of the pitchers.
One and one for Kipnis. Encarnacion at third, Alonso at first, 2 down.
If hitters know they can disregard a strike call on the inside part of the plate, they can look middle away, and they will hurt you.
So Lopez comes back inside, 2-1.
Renado's going to take his cues from Omar Narvaez, because I don't believe that he has shaken off a sign yet.
Which signals what to you?
Well, the fact that he trusts Omar with his game plan. Maybe a veteran pitcher. I mean, when you take a look at James Shields, he's going to call his own game. Sometimes he'll shake off 2, sometimes he'll shake off 3 signs to get to the one that he wants, or the location that he wants. As Omar looking over in the dugout to see if there's any advice given to him before he hangs the sign.
Two. Ricky Renteria, one short of catcher because of the suspension of Wellington Castillo. So Narvaez takes up that mantle this year, at least for the next couple of months. Two and two. Hit well, twisting foul. .30 pitch first inning for Lopez. And a swing and a miss upstairs for the first strikeout for Reynaldo Lopez. 2 in, 2 left. To the second we go.
In today's game.
And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Heart of Iowa Communications in Union, Iowa. A bunch of Sox fans have come to visit in Cleveland. Sox trying to give them a win to go home with. Indians up 2-0 on a 7-batter first inning for Cleveland. Daniel Palka, Matt Skoll, Tim Anderson on the way up. And ball number 1 to Palka, who was 2 for 4 yesterday, including a home run in the 9th inning. On the ground, Gonzalez. 1 away. Let's tell you what's coming up on today's telecast here on NBC Sports Chicago. Your Cy Young finale is the subject of our question for you today, partner. Carlos Rodon with another start on the farm and a memorable debut. A son of a Hall of Famer.
Let's see Carlos Rodon pick up a win in just his second rehab start.
It was really nice to see him stay in the game for as long as he did too, although Ricky Renteria did say that he wants the pitch count to get a little higher before Rodon makes his way back to the majors. 5-inning start, and we'll tell you about his rehab in total coming up later.
You can get to 90 pitches, you're probably ready to go up here, because pitchers these days, you can get 5 out of your starters for the most part, except if you're Corey Kluber or Verlander or a couple of those other Houston pitchers. You consider yourself fortunate. Kluber has given up 11 home runs this year. That in 80 innings of work. Fairly high total for a guy with his great stuff, but when you realize he's around the plate with everything, you know why he does give up some homers. By and large, they're solo home runs. They don't really hurt him all that much.
3 balls and a strike on Matt Skoll, who's had quite the weekend. His call up coming late Sunday, into the lineup on Monday, and his first hit and home run in the same game. Left side base hit. Second hit for the Sox against Kluber this afternoon.
Kluber decided not to go with a fastball. He went with a cutter here, but he got the whole plate with this. He's probably trying to hit the outside corner. He doesn't get it there, and the inside out swing produces the second hit of the afternoon. And Matt Skoll has come up swinging the bat very well. If you get a hit against one of baseball's best, That's a good effort.
One on, one out, Tim Anderson. He's had a very nice career against Kluber at 4 for 12. Strike one. Offensively, Tim, coming into this road trip, was 5 for his last 37, but on this swing, we've seen some improvement.
Even with the thumb issue, he's swinging it pretty well, also hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Oh, 0-2 with Skoll at first, 1 out, second inning. Sox will be back home on Friday for 3, starting a series against Milwaukee, and then on the road again for Minnesota and Boston. So schedule balanced overall, but tilted toward road games right now as Tim takes high.
We're going to see a lot of these Indians middle of June. 4-game series, guaranteed rate field. Then a 3-game series right here in Cleveland. So 7 games in 10 days against the Tribe, which is a daunting task.
In the air, foul, first base side. Talking to a couple of the Sox hitters about Corey Kluber, they said universally the toughest part about what he does is all of his pitches stay the same pretty much out of his hand very late and then break whichever direction they're going to break as late as anybody.
And that's a real difference on that curveball, especially because he's one of the few guys that can throw a straight curveball until the very end. We talked about lack of a loop in the curveball. That makes him doubly tough. The cutter usually breaks on the same plane anyway, but it breaks late. So your eye is identifying fastballs with just about every one of his pitches. Then all of a sudden, as it darts, you really have no chance. Late movement is usually the key with fastballs. You talked about guys with sinkers with late movement. Hitter with his eyes almost robotic knows exactly what it takes to get the hands out in front, to get the head of the bat to hit the ball out in front, and all of a sudden the ball's not there.
We're talking snap judgments, trying to decipher pitches anyway. I mean, these balls are coming 90+ miles an hour, and it's only 60 feet 6 inches.
Right, and you're trying to identify the release point right out of the pitcher's hand. You're trying to do that so you can pick up the spin. And with most guys, curveballs, you can pick up the spin right away. You can also take a look at the loop of the ball, but not so with Kluber.
Another foul, and just missed our pals Jim Rosenhaus and Tom Hamilton in the Indians radio booth. One and two. Another foul from Anderson. This one avoids our compatriots in media. And here's the previous foul ball and what happened afterward. DJ and Farmio and Hammy and Rosie having a little fun.
That was right in between, right off the glass of the booth in between.
One, two. Another foul from Tim Anderson, and a nice play off the bounce near the tarp.
A strategic play because it went off the hands of another fan, so he took the brunt of the speed, and the young man was able to just corral it. Gonna get a souvenir, get the carom off another fan. Good hands.
Good awareness.
And a good seat.
Ball and 2 strikes. Tim Anderson really likes his spot in the batter's box. Well, we saw the 17 pitch at bat that was the catalyst for the Indians rally on Sunday against Houston from Jose Ramirez. Tim Anderson and Corey Kluber facing off.
The more pitches you make Kluber throw early, the greater the chance that he's not going to be around late. And getting into that porous pen is the key with the Tribe.
One and two, Kluber and Anderson. Kluber gets rid of him at 94. Third strikeout for Kluber and 11 pitch at bat.
It was a good battle until Kluber won it. No contact on the big fastball by Kluber.
Two down, Scholes still at first for Omar Narvaez. Indians are only 7-4 in Corey Kluber's starts this year, so he accounts for their 3 games over 500. Part of that certainly is the bullpen you're talking about, because truly bad starts from him are few and far between.
Well, he does have 1 complete game this year. The Tribe has 4. 2 of those by Carlos Carrasco, 1 by Clevenger, and 1 by Kluber.
Line foul right side. White Sox fans, join us Friday, June 15th for Mullet Night and a post-game fireworks show presented by Great Clips. Tonight features haircuts courtesy of Great Clips and mullet wigs for purchase to support Ronald McDonald House charities. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Buy your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. A lot of foul balls this inning.
Just keep fouling the ball off and watch those pitches climb. Pitch number 37 on the way. Not a particularly high total in the early going, but for Kluber, who's used to sawing through lineups, he's had to work a bit. A couple of hits, 3 strikeouts, and a prolonged Tim Anderson at bat. And you're thinking about getting him out of there sometime in the middle of the 7th.
Called strike 3 on the outside edge. Kluber with 4 strikeouts through 2.
debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/socks to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. We talked about late break, and take a look at this one because it's a cutter away. It looks like a ball until it snaps over the outside corner at the very last moment. Now, it doesn't look like much, but a cutter is devised to maybe break 3 to 4 inches, and it's used to break when you throw it away from a left-hander. You want him to give up on it, which Narvaez did, and then it catches a corner. You can also throw it inside to him. It looks like an inside fastball. You go to get it, goes off the sweet spot of the bat, in on the hands, and you can't do anything with it.
Yan Gomes takes a ball, former 10th round pick out of Barry University. Brazilian-born catcher who made a nice throw to catch Yohan Moncada stealing in the first inning.
Gomes was actually a backup catcher when he was with Toronto, and the Tribe got him as a backup catcher in the deal. Well, he grew into an everyday guy and then was torn up at the plate, on a play at the plate, and hurt his knee badly. Now back every day, and still a good catcher.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Gomes.
He came over with Mike Aviles in exchange for Esmiel Rogers, another good trade by the Tribe.
High into the sky, first base side, foul territory. Abreu for out number 1. So we told you Corey Kluber early on in his career did not quickly become the Cy Young winner, 2-time Cy Young winner that we've seen now. So this is through 29 major league appearances, exactly the same amount of starts. Reynaldo Lopez actually has the lower ERA than Kluber did at the time. So
you can only hope that guys are going to develop. You don't expect them to develop into what Corey Kluber has, but it does give you hope. Because Ronaldo's got a bigger fastball than Kluber. I mean, his fastball is 98, anywhere from 96 to 98 consistently. Corey's is pitching comfortably at 92 and 3, and then he'll get it up there to 94. Occasionally, with a good stiff breeze, get it up to 95, but very, very rarely.
What percentage of players that you've seen in your career that are superstars did you know immediately, based on the first time you saw them, were going to be superstars?
Albert Pujols was one. Mike Trout another. Bryce Harper another. But not many. I mean, when you talk about superstardom in this game, first of all, you have to pass the test of time. And a lot of the guys with enormous talent get hurt very early in their careers. They might have what appears to be unlimited potential, but their body doesn't hold up long enough for them to get there. Whether it's for a hitter, whether it's his knees, or for a pitcher, obviously the shoulder, the elbow, whatever works. Or doesn't work in this case.
There's strike 3, second punch out for Lopez. He gets Gonzalez.
But you don't really know. I mean, you can look at superstar talent, and I think the easiest thing to judge, Jason, is tools. I think any baseball scout who's been around for any length of time can judge tools. That's pretty easy. But then judging the rest of the performer, you judge the heart, you judge the intensity, you judge desire. And the one thing you can't teach is desire. That's the toughest thing to come by in the major leagues.
You think so?
Yeah, because you don't really know, especially after a big contract. Because the financial carrot is something that these guys look at. They get their first big contract, and that's the challenge for major league managers. How to motivate a guy who is now financially solvent for the rest of his life. You motivate that guy, and it has to come internally from the player. But the manager has a big part in it, and that's what general managers have to ask when they give a long-term contract. Will this guy, in the 3rd year of a 6-year contract or 7-year contract, will he still give you each and every day what he gave you to get that contract? And it can only be answered when you get to that point. And managers like Terry Francona, who players like and certainly respect for what he's accomplished in this game, and the fact that they know he was a player and he went through what they're going through. Those guys you want to keep around for as long as possible, and that's why he was brought over to Cleveland. to solidify this organization from the dugout, and he certainly has done just that.
1-2's in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that's the challenge in front of Ricky Renteria in another way in terms of motivation. You look at the record, and for the Indians there's intrinsic motivation, and for the Sox too, but the extrinsic motivation of being in the divisional race is different than what the Sox are experiencing right now. And it's Ricky Renteria's job to be terribly positive even when it looks like maybe he even shouldn't be.
Well, Ricky knows down the road, and down the road I'm talking about just this year, because you know each and every season is a microcosm unto itself. There is some carryover, but not that much.
Center field, Adam Engel ranges over to make the play for out number 3. Music buff Ricky Renteria has something for you in terms of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and who he might love to hear as a top 3. This being the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you could only have 3 musical artists on your device for the remainder of the season, who would you pick?
Wow, 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 wow. One would be Marvin Gaye, for sure. You know, I like Al Green. You've heard me play Al Green. You've heard me play Bill Withers, Stevie Wonder. There's any number, and you're asking me for 3. I can't limit it to 3. You're killing me.
Al Green,
Marvin Gaye.
I mean, you gotta pick some variety, right?
I do. I mean, I play a little Michael Jackson on the flight as well. But if I had to take the 3, I'll say Barry White from my brother.
So Barry White, Marvin Gaye, Al Green.
Yeah. How about that?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You can see the panic, right? I mean, he has so much music. Picking 3 is a very difficult choice for the Sox skipper.
Not exactly a rocker.
No. Fouled away by Engel. And we stuck around a little bit after the question. And Ricky was scrolling through with all of his music there. He's got a lot on that device. And we hear a lot of it on the trip, plane, bus. There's strike 3. Engel is out, 1 away. But the reason I bring it up too is because I think it's an insight into the person as well. Because if one day you walked into his office and there was no music playing, that would be a signal that the frustration was getting to him. It's kind of the way to anchor himself in what's been a difficult season win-loss wise, and he tries to keep that positivity not only through music but his personality.
Well, we started talking about it as last inning ended. What Ricky is trying to do on a daily basis is win that day. He knows in the grand scheme of things, you're going to win some battles. You're not going to win the war this year. war is going to be won by some much better teams, the teams who've gone through rebuild in some cases. The Indians are in a situation that Kansas City was in. They came within one game of winning the World Series. So the carrot for them is that ring, that World Series championship ring. So it's easy to get motivated when that is something you're shooting for. For the White Sox, they realize that that ring is going to be down the road. They have to satisfy themselves with being ready to win today. And Ricky knows that that's only going to happen a couple times, 2-3 times a week, where you're really going to have a legitimate shot to win the ball game. Now, he believes they can win it each and every day. When you run against some of the good teams in the league, they are going to take the game away in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
That can be frustrating for fans.
It is frustrating because everybody understands the rebuild. They talk about the rebuild, but they want the team to win today.
High in the air, left center field. And into left for Brantley. And out number 2. Bring your family of 4 to a White Sox game for as low as $49. Our family 4-pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 chips, and 4 sodas. Upper level and lower level packages available. Check out all the available dates at whitesox.com/4packs today.
5 strikeouts for Corey Kluber and nary a walk. Has given up 2 hits, 1 erased on a strike him out, throw him out double play to end the 1st inning. Here is the author of one of those hits, Yoan Moncada.
And Yoan takes a strike from Corey Kluber, who they call the Klubot, for a couple reasons. Number 1 is consistency on the mound. Number 2, the fact that his winning smile doesn't show up terribly often.
You can look at his face on the mound, and it doesn't matter what the situation is. You're not going to be able to read what the situation is. Whether he's ecstatic or whether he is never in panic mode, but whether he's depressed about what's going on at any given time, you're not going to see it. I like the fact that he gets ahead with that little cutter on the outside corner. Left-hand hitters just don't swing at it because they identify it as a pitch going to be out of the zone, and it's usually not. That's what he's done at home this year. Microscopic ERA below 1.5.
There's that late break into the dirt. It was low and out of the zone though when it started to break. 2-2.
Well, Gomes blocked that one for practice because he knows that Kluber's slider is going to wind up in the dirt as a wipeout pitch, and you got to get used to blocking it. You realize how softly he absorbed that ball instead of the hard carom that we saw earlier in the game.
Swing and a miss for strike 3 as he goes soft away. 6 strikeouts for Kluber. Bottom 3 coming next from Cleveland.
White Sox Brewers game this Friday for a chance to win free tickets to an upcoming game. Learn more at NBCSportsChicago.com/free ticket Friday.
It's a good kind of Friday, free ticket Friday.
$10 hot dog Wednesday. Very good.
Free t-shirt Thursday. Steve Stone Monday.
Waiting for free car day.
It's inside.
That looked like it hit him.
It did get him. Brantley gets clipped.
If you're going to get hit, that's the best way to do it. Hit the uniform. Stay away from the body.
One on, nobody out for Ramirez.
Now you're going to be able to run a bit better than you were at the top of the first inning when the area around first base was all dark with a lot of water poured on it when Yuan was thrown out stealing. Now things are a little brighter around first base, meaning it's dried out since the beginning of the game.
Throw to first, and Brantley's back in. For Cleveland, this is an older lineup, though. Brantley is one of 6 guys 30 years old or above. Jose Ramirez, one of the younger Cleveland players at 25. Allen is 25 as well. Lindor, who's not playing today, 24 years old. It's not the greatest view of the ballpark from up there.
Brantley was just testing his lead last time. Now Sandy Alomar has a word with him at first base.
To 1. Inside, almost got him. 3 balls and a strikeout, Ramirez.
Now, if Terry Francona wants, this is a good time to run. Ramirez doesn't strike out very much. 24 strikeouts and 204 at bats.
More walks than strikeouts. That is very difficult to do in the majors.
You got to have a good eye and very good bat control to be able to do that.
Slams it foul. 3-2. Last year, Ramirez 52 walks, 69 strikeouts. And you look at the numbers for his career, 173 compared to 230, and that is for a power hitter. Extremely impressive in this day and age.
He spent a long time not being a power hitter and learning his craft before he hit 29 home runs last year. He's going to fly by that this year.
Runners off, line to right field. Brantley is into third.
It's a sense of security for the manager when you know that your hitter is going to make contact. Then you can send Brantley in that situation, and the only thing you worry about is a line drive at somebody. This wasn't. Ramirez takes what appears to be a high change, drives it through the right side. And the Indians offensively in business once again with the top of the order. Brantley with a nice job of cutting the bag at second base. And knowing the play was behind him, he made it easily.
First and third, nobody out for Encarnacion. He goes after the first pitch.
Got his fastball middle in and fortunately fouled it back.
Well, again, the top of the order for Cleveland, top 5. On base 6 times. The bottom 4 all made outs. Left side and through. Ramirez was running, but the ball was hit hard enough that he's going to stop at second. Cleveland scores a third run in the game here in the third inning.
Encarnacion reached out, took a pretty good pitcher's pitch and drove it to the left side, and Don Cooper coming out to the mound once again. See him reach out, and that shows you that he is starting to heat it up. This is a guy that hit abysmally in the month of April, and yet in the month of May he's hitting around, well, close to 315, 320 now. He's been on base his first 2 times at bat today. Don Cooper has had his say.
Encarnacion is the only player in Major League Baseball with at least 30 home runs the last 6 years.
He'll get there again. Weather has started to heat up, and so has his bat. But for him, they're not worried about the batting average. I mean, they're worried about hitting the ball out of the park as it produces runs batted in.
If he hit 300 for the year and 5 homers, they'd probably not be happy.
The only way they would be happy is he drove in 120.
Right.
But probably.
But that's not even within his control.
Probably wouldn't do that, no. No, because he's a base clogger anyway, so you just as soon him hit the ball out of the park or hit doubles.
Strike one to Yonder Alonso.
Well, at 3 runs in the early going, the fact that 23 straight times Kluber has not given up more than 3 runs, the only way you're going to get back into this is against the bullpen, which means a lot of foul balls, hopefully.
When you're talking about Corey Kluber, considering what he normally does, the ideal situation is hit the home runs at the right time, because he does give up more than a home run per 9 innings. As you were talking about, they're typically solo home runs, but that's the way to beat him.
Well, you're also looking at a guy with just 10 walks and over 80 innings this year, meaning undoubtedly they will be solo shots.
Two strikes on Alonso, who's 4 for 7 in the series. Thought you had that one.
Not quite enough on it to get it back up here. But if it did, you can rest assured I would have at least batted it down.
You would have.
Oh, absolutely.
The sincerity in your eyes is really remarkable.
Ronaldo has been on top 0-2 now for the 10th time.
And this one punched through the left side. Ramirez stopped at third. Bases loaded. 3 straight hits after the plunking of Brantley.
I think what we're seeing here in a day and age of massive shifts to either side, we're seeing the Indians using the opposite field a lot. They've done it the entire series with their guys. They pull for power, but they'll go the opposite way if the pitcher pitches them that way. And Alonso having a terrific series. He's one of the 5 guys with 30 or more runs batted in.
Melky Cabrera, who sacked fly in the first, scored run number 2. He was the guy in the lineup who'd seen Lopez most in his time in Kansas City last year. 2 for 9 coming in. Only Encarnacion and Ramirez in the lineup had seen him as well. There's a strike.
Activity in the pen for our Sox. I would assume it's Chris Volstad. He can go many innings.
He looks like a giraffe.
It's him.
Yanked to right, and Polka can't make the play. Ramirez home. Encarnacion follows. Alonso to third on Melky Cabrera's line drive double.
Melky's driven in 3 today, giving him 6 for the year. That was a sinking line drive, and Polka could not get to it. In the effort to get it, the ball gets by him.
That's the risk you run on the dive. So 5 straight have reached, 3 of them are in, and Jason Kipnis the batter.
And another meeting at the mound, and this one probably called from the dugout to give Volstead a chance to get loose. Yomer's still out there. He realizes the situation, and Chris Volstead, in that relatively short trip to the mound, is probably going to get another 6 or 7 pitches to loosen up.
It's just the second time this year Lopez has allowed more than 4 earned runs in a start. This is 11th start. For the most part, he has been the most consistent White Sox starter this year.
This Indians offense can cause you a lot of damage.
That's a different group.
Yeah, they are.
The infield in. Kipnis fouls it away. 1-2. Alonso at third, Cabrera at second. And a 1-hopper knocked down by Narvaez.
That was a good block by Omar. That time he didn't try to catch it. He did angle his body and make sure on the carom the ball just trickled in front. By angling your body, you can bet that the ball's going to stay in front of you, and Omar did well that time.
It's all physics, right?
I'm not sure, but I do know that it's not going to trickle away.
You never took physics?
No.
Really?
They decided after algebra that I should never take another math class.
Physics is actually a science class, so I see why it was a problem.
And that too.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Popped up on the infield. Wakana and Anderson in tandem, and Tim's there to make the catch. 1 down.
1 big out, and now you've got a righty-righty advantage for Gomes, who popped up last time.
In the air right center. Angles underneath. Alonso tags and scores. Cabrera is into third. And Cleveland gets another at 6-0.
That's 13 driven in by Gomes on the sacrifice fly. And the Tribe is pouring it on.
This is the definition of death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Well, this is a team that has fairly decent speed at the top, although they don't show it a whole lot. But they've got a lot of guys who will put the bat on the ball in the middle of this lineup, and the top just continues to pressure you.
You look at the StatCast numbers for the game so far. The average exit velocity against Lopez today is just 81.5 miles an hour. So it suggests a lack of truly hard contact. However, the Indians have some well-placed baseballs like that one. Cabrera scores. Gonzalez drives him in.
We talked about the fact that the Indians keep going opposite field, and hitting coaches or pitching coaches will tell you the same thing. Don't try to do too much. That means don't pull the ball when it's away, and that's going to drive Ronaldo from the mound. As Eric Gonzalez, getting his opportunity to play at shortstop, takes advantage of it, driving in his 9th run of the year. So that will be it for Lopez. Disappointing day against a pitcher who doesn't give up very much. So as he walks out, so will we. We'll be back. And it's about time for Chris Volstead to come into this game and stem the tie. On for the 16th time, he's 0-3, ERA an even 4. Left-handers have not hit him near as well as the right-handers. There you look at the rest of the numbers. He has fanned 20 in 27 innings, and he's going to be asked to do what that first guy out of the pen usually is asked to do, and that's get a whole lot of outs in a situation where the game is bordering on a blowout. Or against Kluber, it pretty well looks that way at this point.
Yeah, 23 straight starts with 3 runs or fewer for Kluber is what you're going up against. But maybe, just maybe he gets a little loose with his control, although
hasn't yet
he's
this
a
year.
machine.
But yeah, maybe this time. However, it could be the length of this inning as the Indians poured on here with 5 in the 3rd. That might get to him, but I doubt it.
Yeah, there have been a lot of could-be's with Corey Kluber over the course of time that have turned out to be not much. He is truly fun to watch.
There is no doubt. If you don't have to hit against him, he's wonderful to watch.
There's strike 2 from Volstead, nothing in 2.
Top of this lineup has been as advertised, even though it's Brantley in the number 1 spot. Greg Allen in the number 1 spot, Brantley at 2. They keep scoring runs at the top. So far in the early going, and it is very early, it's the 3rd inning. 1, 2, and 3 in the batting order have scored 4 runs. Brantley scoring 2 of them.
Fouled away left side. 9th batter of the inning, Greg Allen. Looks like he got himself on track with that home run on Sunday, because in this series he's been 4 for 9 and rather pesky wherever he's been on the card.
He realizes he's better make the most of the time he's got to play, because Bradley Zimmer is going to come back from that chest contusion.
Up the middle, that was not that bad of a pitch, and he smoked it to center field. Oh, golf shot from Allen for his second hit.
Olstead gets it low and in, and Allen just drops the head of the bat on it and takes it back up the middle. This is why it's a lot easier to hit a low fastball than it is to hit a high fastball, because you can do that. You can open up and you drop the head of the bat on it. You just have more time to wait. The high fastball, you have to go up and get it. And usually with guys worried about launch angle these days, it's an uppercut swing. Uppercut swing, you can drive the low pitch, you just can't hit the high pitch.
Brantley serves it to left field. Trace Thompson back at the warning track to bring it in. So Brantley bats twice. The Indians take a 7-0 lead. Grab a cold one, folks. Rate your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com. 7-0 Cleveland, the lead in the fourth. Yolmer Sanchez, Jose Abreu, Daniel Palka coming up. And Corey Kluber throws ball one to Sanchez. 6 strikeouts, 2 hits for Kluber so far. It just looks so simple for Corey Kluber.
When you take a look at any of the pitch cast charts, you'll see that he very rarely uses the middle of the plate. Occasionally he'll use it on that cutter that he throws outside in to left-handers, but that's about it.
Lob to center field, and an oncoming Allen is there to haul in out number 1.
What does seem fairly easy is that you can get really good pitching performances if you can catch the baseball. And the Indians have a quality left fielder, a very good third and shortstop, and Allen does a nice job in center field. He's not as good as Bradley Zimmer, but he's very fast, and Yolmer gets robbed of a base hit.
He made up a lot of ground on that ball very quickly.
Well, the break was that it wasn't a sinking line drive. There was no topspin on it, so it stayed up long enough for him to run under and make the play.
1 down. Abreu takes ball 1. Jose looking for his first hit in the series. He came into this 3-game series in Cleveland with 7 multi-hit games in his last 10. And the Indians have kept him down pretty well. Jose, even though he's seen Corey Kluber 45 times entering this game, he was sitting in his locker a couple hours before the game watching new video on Kluber, just trying to pick something up, even though he's had some success in the past, as it's 2-2.
When you're around the plate a lot, you're going to get the benefit of that pitch, because Ronaldo could not get the inside fastball. That pitch was a good inch and a half inside, and Kluber got the benefit of the call. But because he's around the plate with everything, that'll happen.
2-2 is swung through. He goes fastball and strikes him out. 7th strikeout for Kluber. Here's your Sox Math question. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins a prize from the road, a postcard from Cleveland. Number of teams other than the Sox and Indians Robbie Alomar played for, plus the number of teams other than the Sox and Indians Sandy Alomar played for. You look like you have some disdain in your heart for that question.
No, I want to know the number of teams other than the Sox and the Indians that Bill Alomar played for. You should have added that one.
Talented third baseman in his day.
Very good. Limited reign.
William Alomar. One strike on Polka. And now 0-2. Well, you can't go up there hoping to wait Kluber out, because it's not going to be very long.
No, he throws everything in the zone. When he misses, he just barely misses off the plate. Very rarely will he throw a purpose pitch. Like I say, he missed, but he missed just barely low and away.
Two and two for Polka. He's 3 for 9 in this series so far. Daniel just 26 years old, over from the Twins. Two. That's there, strike 3, and on the catch, Gomes started walking to the dugout. 8 strikeouts for Kluber, 2 in each inning. Steve Stone along with you and our entire wonderful crew here in Cleveland. We thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. Bulletin just across the wire. Corey Kluber is very good. Sox have run into him today.
It's a bad day to give up 7. Because Kluber, I can't remember back to when he gave up 7 last.
Yeah, it's been a while. Two balls, no strikes. Reynaldo Lopez finishes the day 2 2/3, 8 hits, 7 earned runs. But again, there have been games where he's been harder hit this year.
Well, the Indians pretty much hit the ball exactly where it was pitched today. This was a clinic for hitting. Not overswinging, not going up there with a predetermined idea of where you want to hit the ball, just taking a look at the baseball and going right with it.
Three and 0. Now 3-1 on Ramirez. And look, you come in with the 3rd most home runs and the 3rd best slugging percentage. You assume that you're going to get some doubles, some homers, and it's been mostly singles today for Cleveland.
Again, a good game plan. It's Ty Van Berkeley, the hitting coach. He's done a nice job with this team. He's got some good hitters to work with.
That ball is launched. Ramirez crushes another. His team leading 17th.
That's 40 driven in for Ramirez. 4th home run replay. Volstead falls behind 3-1, throws a fastball, and Ramirez, who is red hot, just launches it. He's not going to hit many tape measure jobs, but he's going to hit the ball hard, and he's going to hit it hard often.
He's become one of the toughest outs in Major League Baseball. So now they've tied Boston in terms of home runs for the year, and Ramirez is tied for 2nd in baseball behind Mike Trout with those 17 home runs.
Interesting story came out because there was an erroneous story that came out of the Dominican Republic that Ramirez had tested positive for PEDs, and that went around baseball fairly quickly. And everybody looked at the numbers and said, well, of course. I mean, he had 29 home runs last year. The most he had hit before that was 11, and that was in any year in his career. So it had to be that. Well, baseball called the Cleveland Indians directly and said he has never failed a drug test. And so that report was erroneous. And for all of you who might have read that, we just want to set the record straight.
Encarnacion to right field. Polka has no play. Back-to-back home runs for Cleveland's 3 and 4 hitters.
That's 2 driven in for Encarnacion, who had 4 driven in the opener of this series. And we talked about the fact that he was heating it up. Now the lineup goes even deeper. It goes 5 deep with quality hitters with power. Our 4th home run replay, an opposite field shot. Indians have been doing this a lot today. Only Encarnacion, when he goes the other way, he has enough strength to ease it out of the ballpark.
Right side base hit. Yonder Alonso's 3 for 3.
Ten hits of the first 5 hitters. We're not through the 4th inning yet. So speaking about that draft coming up, I know you were wondering about that.
The meeting happens now on the mound with Luis Avilan getting loose, but your segue was kind of a joke. But I will tell you anyway, the Sox have the 4th overall pick coming up on Monday.
They do, and one of these guys, you're going to hear these names mentioned a lot between now and the 4th. As Dick Hostetler and his crew have been tirelessly poring over all of the scouting reports from what they have personally seen, as well as the reports they've gotten from some of the scouts. And remember the names, and not necessarily in this order, but Brady Singer out of Florida, Nick Madrigal out of an infielder out of Oregon State, Auburn right-hander Casey Mize, who a lot of people figure might be the #1 pick in the draft. But Joey Bart, a catcher, might be right there. We've got a pitching change. We'll tell you more about that draft as Luis Avilan coming in, Volstead going out, and will step out. Time, and it's about time that some guys will get some folks out, and Luis Avilan is the man that is charged with that. Indians just too hot at this point. We knew they were starting to heat up when we came to town offensively. They were starting to hit the baseball as a team. Now they had some bullpen problems, but not the offense, and we've seen a whole lot of offense in this series. So Luis comes into this to try to stem the tide. And the top 5 of the order have been nails here today.
"15 times they've been up. 12 times they've reached base. The 1 through 5 hitters.
Been an amazing run for the top of the order in the entire series.
Melky Cabrera from the right-hand side. Ramirez a home run and Encarnacion a home run, so Volstead goes a third of an inning, gives up 4 hits, no walks, no strikeouts. And the hope for Ricky Renteria was that he'd get some more innings out of Chris Volstead, considering he is the long man right now with Hector Santiago in the lineup, the starting rotation for the Sox.
Well, tomorrow is off, so the bullpen will get a rest. You can afford to use a whole lot of it here today, and that appears what's going to happen. In the Covey game, it was Avilan, Volstead, Fry, Beck, and Santiago. Bummer, Rondon, and Beck in the game last night.
Would imagine that Nate Jones would get some work today.
Chris Beck probably is not available.
Soria, you'd have to believe, would throw today as well. You know, we were talking about the draft before the break, and Ricky Renteria was asked about it, and he said that his staff is going to go on Friday and get to see the war room and see some of the names. But right now, first of all, he's got enough names in the clubhouse to deal with on his own in AAA and rehab assignments and things like that. But he and the staff will get a chance to see all of the slots on the board at Guaranteed Rate Field when the Sox return home.
A couple names we didn't mention: Wichita State third baseman Alec Bohm and South Alabama outfielder Travis Swaggerty. All of those guys are likely to go high, and any one could drop to the Sox at 4.
Three balls and 2 strikes on Melky. Don't think the Sox are drafting for need right now. We're talking, as they say, best available.
Yeah, Nick Hostetler said it doesn't matter who they have in the system currently. It doesn't matter who they have on the major league team currently. They will take the best player that they believe is available at their spot.
We plan to catch up with Nick. Hopefully we can drag him into the booth for one of those days against Milwaukee.
That would be nice to find out. And he's not going to tell us who they're going to pick because he doesn't know. He doesn't know who's going to be there. Odds are overwhelming that Casey Mize won't be there. That's a lot of people's number one for sure. Detroit has that, and Detroit certainly needs starting pitching, and very few teams don't, except for perhaps Houston.
On the ground, Anderson the turn, and a double play. So Melky Cabrera has been a double play dispenser in this series.
Melky grounded into a double play yesterday, 2 the day before, and 1 here today. Off balance throw gets it there in plenty of time, and Melky, who driven in 3 in his first 2 at bats, does ground into the twin killing.
Jason Kipnis with the bases clear. Takes ball 1. Two balls and no strikes. Kipnis 0 for 2, a strikeout and a pop out after a home run yesterday. The Avilan's come in and throwing darts, 2-2.
That was a good pitch. He threw it down, threw it right by Kipnis.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Basically all balls in play in this game. 2 strikeouts for Cleveland, 1 walk, a hit batter, and everything else in the field of play. Three and 2.
Well, Fan made a great catch on that one. Second level, and caught it on the fly.
Nice chair.
Very comfortable seat.
Yeah, my goodness. Can we trade?
I'd gladly give up mine. I think the ground glass underneath makes it a little less comfortable.
3 and 2 is in there for strike 3. You know, some days baseball treats you well, and other days you feel like Yonder Alonso, slip and slide champion. Alomar played for San Diego, Toronto, Baltimore, the Mets, and Arizona. That's 5. Sandy Alomar with a well-traveled career as well. 5 teams played for other than the Sox and Indians. 10 is your answer for White Sox Jack, and we will send you a postcard from the road. First pitch, a strike to Matt Skoll from Corey Kluber, who has had a lot of time to observe in today's ball game. Skoll, by the way, a couple of days ago with those first run scored, hit, and home run, we were wondering, we saw the first ball come out, it got thrown to Yolmer Sanchez, so we knew Skoll had the souvenir from the first hit, but the home run went pretty deep to right field. And he eventually did get that baseball as well from a fan out there. So Matt's going to stow him away and is safe when he gets to Chicago.
Nice remembrances of his first major league game and his first everything. Hit, home run, run batted in.
It's tough though when you're on the road. It's not like you can squirrel the ball away and have it somewhere truly safe, because you've got your luggage that you had in AAA. Daniel Polka got that first hit in Kansas City and he was carrying the baseball around in a sock.
It's a good thing. It makes it difficult to put in your shoe, but outside of that, it's a nice idea.
The new orthotics. Skoll to left field and playable for Brantley. 1 away.
Let's take a look at Corey Kluber against Yoan Moncada. I want you to look at the release point that Corey Kluber throws with each and every pitch. So he's high 3/4 on a cutter for the first pitch. Then that changeup is away, same place it comes out of. You can't pick it up. That was his slider, and again, the hitter cannot pick it up at all. The changeup ends the at bat, and for Yoan, everything looks like a fastball till it comes out of his hand, and then you swing it what you think is a fastball, only the ball doesn't get there. That's why he's won 2 Cy Young Awards and is a candidate for his 3rd.
Some people refer to it as tunneling, that the pitch comes out of the same tunnel as the other type of pitch.
Well, you try to find some deviation in the release point, and there doesn't seem to be any.
This one hit well to left field by Tim Anderson, and that springs off the wall. So Tim on his way in with a 1-out double. He is now 5 for 14 against Kluber all time.
Just the 3rd hit of the day and the first extra base hit. Anderson, a strikeout victim on a fastball in the 2nd inning, hits this cutter and takes it over the head of Brantley. Tim Anderson is a very strong guy who will get stronger in the years to come. He's going to hit his 25 plus this year.
And he's at second for Omar, who sprays it left side and foul.
Well, the few pitches that dots the middle of the pitch cast. In that at bat to Matt Skoll, he just wore out both sides of the plate.
That'll get you a 2.17 ERA real quick.
2.17 and sinking with this performance so far today.
He's lost 11 points off of it to 2.06.
I'd like to think perhaps he would lose his concentration at 9-0, but it doesn't appear that that's the case.
He's not the guy that you're going to get the concentration to wane on.
No, I don't think that he would be your first choice.
Doesn't seem like the type of guy where you can say, Corey, look over there, and he'll look. He'll stare directly into your eyes.
Look at those numbers. They're pretty impressive. Just about as impressive as each and every start this year.
Two 1. Left side and twisting foul. 75 pitches for Kluber so far through 4 1/3. Two and two. Omar lofts it to left center field. Allen in the alleyway to make the catch. Anderson on his way to third. Let's take a look at the White Sox Farm Report. It's presented by Guaranteed Rate, and Carlos Rodon was quite good against the AAA Phillies last night. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. And Ricky Renteria before the game, talking about the rotation, said that they're still discussing when Rodon will be up. The official rotation for the Brewers series does not include him, so you'd imagine that one more start to raise the pitch count would be in the cards.
Well, I think for sure one more start. It depends on how many pitches he throws, how many innings he gets in, and how he comes out of the next start. That will determine where he makes the start after the next.
Ball and a strike from Kluber to Adam Engel. Corey Kluber is a former Hatter. He went to Stetson for his college days, and his alma mater is hosting a regional this coming weekend in college baseball.
There are 16 regionals, and the one I'm very interested in is the one in Lubbock, Texas.
You're a big fan of Lubbock.
I am. Tom Hamilton, the fine broadcaster, 29 years with the Indians, the man sitting to our right. His son goes to Kent State, and they are the 3 seed in the Lubbock Regional. They got to get by Louisville, and then the winner of New Mexico State and Texas Tech.
Pretty good offensive club that Tim Tadlock has for Texas Tech, and that is one of the windier places in America you'll visit.
Texas Tech decided, and they thought they were going to play a Midwest team, so they decided to pick the day game in the first game because it's going to be like 106 degrees. Well, they got New Mexico State, not necessarily a middle of America team.
Depending on where you claim the middle of America is. 3 and 2 for Engel.
And Kent State goes against Louisville, and they play in the night game, and then the winner plays the winner of the first game.
That's Adam Engel's alma mater, where he played for Dan McDonnell, the very aggressive coach in terms of base stealing. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Kluber with strikeout number 9. Chuck was going to give you an update on Carlos Rodon, but we did that, so there's fire coming off his pen. 90 seconds, Chuck. Good luck. but the microphone wasn't open. So just trying to follow your instructions. Look forward to seeing you over the weekend at the ballpark. Sounds great. Chuck Garfien, ladies and gentlemen. And Bruce Rondon as well out to the mound.
Last time we saw Bruce for an inning, he was very good. And he's on for the 18th time. His ERA at 4.76. So he's got to try to quiet this very potent Indian offense. But he's got the bottom two before we swing to the top with Allen.
Yan Gomes, Eric Gonzalez. Gomes 0 for 1 with a sac fly, and he takes ball number 1. Typically, Bruce Rondon either throws a lot of strikes or a bunch of pitches out of the zone. It's not normally batter by batter. You can typically get the flavor for the outing pretty early on. So we'll see if he can straighten out on 2-0. And that's high. 3 balls, no strikes.
In yesterday's game, he came on and struck out Encarnacion before getting Alonso to pop up, and that was in a jam in the 7th inning. So we'll see in this a blowout game if he can pick up a clean inning.
Called a strike, 3-1. Sox will see the Indians for 7 games in June, 4 at home, 3 on the road. So that first 2 months without Cleveland on the schedule has changed as that ball is hit high in the air to left field. Trace Thompson for round number 1. Sox fans, join us as the White Sox take on the Milwaukee Brewers Saturday, June 2nd, 1:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans get a replica 1983 road jersey presented by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Chicago. Get your tickets today, whitesox.com or at 866-SOX-GAME. One down for Gonzalez.
Eric is a very tall middle infielder, can play third base, and right now a swingman for the Tribe.
Check swing, ball in the dirt, now 2-1. By the way, at the ballpark this weekend, we mentioned Danny Farquhar throwing out the first pitch on Friday. Then Sunday, June 3rd, Autism Awareness Day at Guaranteed Rate Field as well. To shortstop and Anderson. 2 down.
Let's take a look at the high-speed action powered by Xfinity, and it's been the top of the order once again as it's been throughout the series, but today no exception. With Allen, a couple of hits and a lineup. And then Brantley, 19-game hitting streak. He scored 2 runs. And Ramirez, 2 hits, 1 driven in and 2 scored. And Encarnacion, 2 driven in on a home run. He's been on base 3 times. And Alonso, he has terrorized our boys in this series. He's got 3 hits and 1 run scored.
Boy, if those first 5 guys weren't in the lineup, Sox would be having a great series.
And because Melky then wouldn't have had anybody to drive in, and he's driven in 3 of those guys at the top.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
0-1. Check swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Should be like hockey where you can play 4-on-4 and just pick the bottom 4 in the Indians lineup, because those top 5 are just too tough.
Look, I tried to move the All-Star game 2 weeks ago, and you recoiled in fear.
Moving it where?
Like 2 weeks in advance, and now you're going to change lineups from 9 to 4.
Oh no,
and that's okay.
You were well. Wait a second. You were just doing that so you could go right in half the season.
Yeah.
81 before 81.
It makes a lot of sense, and you were not having it.
Well, if you start the season as early as we started, you're going to play what, the All-Star game the third week of May. You want to do that?
I was talking about late June.
Can't do it then.
Yeah, that was your answer the first time. We're just reprising that conversation.
You have to have it around my birthday,
Oh.
which so you can get me a gift is July 14th.
Okay.
And that's usually around where the All-Star game is. That's a tradition. You can't deviate from that.
Like no other.
Yeah, close to it. And I'll buy you a green jacket also.
There's a very nice emerald colored jacket of Kid Rock at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if you care to go.
No, I've run into Kid Rock. Thank you.
You have?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Not pleasant.
Wait, really?
Yeah, really.
I fancied you a big Kid Rock fan.
No.
Huh.
I am a rock fan. If you take the kid out, then I'm right there with you.
We're going to the Hall of Fame next time. You're
I
coming with.
think it's wonderful, but having family here usually precludes me doing that. But I understand it's wonderful.
Take the family for breakfast.
As soon as Dire Straits gets in, I'll be there.
They're in this year.
Well, they're not in yet.
Ha ha. Gotcha.
Mark Knopfler's finally getting in.
The whole band.
Well, that's terrific.
Yeah, Nina Simone, the Cars, among others.
Well, when they get in, I'm there.
I actually feel like the inductions already happened this year. I might be wrong though. On the ground up the middle, Moncada can't handle it.
That is an E4.
That is a play Yohan will tell you he should have made.
Oh, absolutely. We'll take another look. Yohan likes to go down with one hand, and playing it off to the side with one hand, that carom does not come up and hit you and keep it in play. At second base, you get a bobble and can still make the play. But off to the side like that, not so much. Just the fifth error this year for Moncada.
Brantley to Sanchez, and that only one pitch later will end the inning. Allen left on, and the Indians still pitching a shutout. And our subject today is Corey Kluber. who's part of the Strikeouts for Vets campaign. He's also a VA supporter here in Cleveland. Two-time Cy Young winner. Just 2 All-Star teams, which is rather surprising. And the AL wins and ERA leader last year. Our T-Mobile hats off for heroes. On the ground at shortstop, Gonzalez. Rapid fire on Thompson. Let's quiz Steve on his own career, not involving Kid Rock. It's called Sticks and Stone. And here is your question today. Which Indians player did you strike out twice in your final start in 1980?
Well, I don't think I struck out Ron Hasse very much. And Alan Bannister, I'll say Gary Alexander, because I can't remember any at-bats against Gary Alexander, so maybe I got him a couple times.
Can't remember any at-bats against him?
Yeah. How many times did I face him? 80?
We'll find out in the answer. It's called a tease. Sort of like when you say, I think the Verizon starting pitchers are coming soon. Ball and a strike on Moncada. 85 pitches deep, Corey Kluber. Through 5 1/3, 9 strikeouts, no walks, 3 hits.
And very few middle of the plate pitches.
Rajay Davis has come in to play left field for Cleveland. He's been a defensive replacement all 3 games of this series. Two and 2 on Moncada. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Kluber. Okay, here's your answer. You said Gary Alexander. Let's see. It is Gary Alexander. Oh, we did pack the sound effects.
How about that?
Nice. Thought we left him on the dresser.
Gotta get one right every now and then.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Considering you remember 0 at-bats against him, I assume you don't have a story about him.
Not one. I do remember a multitude of Ron Hasse hits through the right side, barely trickling by whoever was playing second base at the time, usually George Orta.
You struck out Gary Alexander 8 times. You don't remember him at all, huh?
Not a one.
You should be thanking him. He should be on your holiday card list.
I usually thank him when they get to 10.
What a threshold. 1 strike to Sanchez. In the air, left side. And out number 3. 1-2-3 inning for Kluber. Steve will tell us more about Gary Alexander after this. Scoreboard message. Proceeds benefit White Sox charities. To book your message, visit whitesox.com/scoreboard.
We get a new pitcher in the ball game. It is Jace Fry. So it's Lopez, Volstead, Avilan, Rondon, and now Jace Fry. On for the 11th time. So he got up here late, but he's been busy in the ERA. .82. He just gave up his first run of the year in his last appearance. There you look at the rest of the numbers. He's got to face the middle of this order.
Ramirez, Encarnacion, and Alonso. Jace Fry starts him off with a breaking ball, 0-1. Two balls and a strike from Fry. Ball found its way to Tim Timmons, 3-1. But Jace Fry, who has been exceptional for the Sox out of the bullpen this year, maybe facing his toughest 3 hitters of the season in this outing in the 6th.
Delavo loosening up, and he was just activated. To activate him, Plutko went down to the minor leagues. He's only 3-0, so it's a tough place to secure a spot in the rotation.
Well, they called up Shane Bieber, or are going to start tomorrow. By the way, Bieber will become the first Cleveland Indian pitcher since 1900 to start his first major league game on his birthday.
Well, he's going to celebrate that birthday. Even if he pitches a no-hitter, he's going back down to the minor leagues to get some work in. And what the Indians want him to do is work on a changeup, which he hasn't really done a whole lot of in the minor leagues because he's sawing through their lineups with no problem whatsoever. So they want to see how he'll do up here minus that changeup.
To center field, Angles underneath, and there is out number 1. Terry Francona, talking about Bieber, said that the Indians brass kept Bieber away from Cleveland's major league side for most of spring training because they thought Francona would fall in love with the kid's stuff, and they didn't want Terry to get too hooked on having Bieber in that clubhouse.
Well, he's a strike throwing machine, and that part of it's really good. He's got to move the ball around as he's not overpowering, but when you're around the strike zone as much as he is, we see how well it works for Corey Kluber, but he's the finished product. And Bieber with a lot of promise. So they're going to give him a start and then send him back down to work. They want to give him a look at the major leagues to give him that incentive to pitch as well as he can to come back here.
There's also immediately some learning that happens in that debut, right?
There's no doubt. Yeah, he's going to learn a whole lot. And one of the things he'll probably learn is it's difficult to pitch here without a change unless your stuff, the secondary stuff, is overwhelming. And very few guys can do it. Even the great Corey Kluber using a lot of changeups today.
I think we're seeing that in part with Jace Fry as well. He got a taste of the majors last year. Again, we talked about this. He went home with a box of Major League baseballs, got a feel for throwing the major league ball rather than assuming he was going to be in the minors, and it's shown up with much more confidence, plus even better stuff this year.
Well, I think also his arm is 100%.
As he blazes by Alonso for out number 2 in the 6th. Yet another former Tommy John surgery guy, Jace Fry, who went to the powerhouse Oregon State for his collegiate days.
That's where Nick Madrigal comes out of.
There's a strike to Melky Cabrera. If that name does pop up at 4 for the Sox, and there are a number of names who could be there. You get great command of the strike zone and bat control as Anderson goes to the backhand side and makes a nifty play. Abreu missed the tag, and then the race back. Melky Cabrera wins.
There's an example of Tim Anderson not understanding the speed of Melky because he had some time. He rushed his throw. The throw was up, and I believe it'll cost him an E6. This is a rocket, and he pours it across to get it there. The tag is not on Melky, who goes by the bag without touching it. Then he gets back to the bag, and Jose can't get him.
Nothing like a game of tag with Melky on your Wednesday afternoon. Here's Kipnis. As that ball bounces slightly away from Narvaez. Ramirez to third, Cabrera to second.
It goes a wild pitch, but it was a backhand attempt in the middle of Omar's body.
One-0. That knocks Kipnis down. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, now with Jason squeezing the sawdust out of the bat, it's a good time for a slow curveball.
2-0. He goes to the heat and gets a swing and a miss. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now the curveball.
I think if he throws a fastball in under his hands, it'll be the same result.
Two and 2. Well off the plate, so Kipnis, who's gone at least 2 and 2 in every at bat today, has his second straight full count. He missed inside. Fry walks him. Bases loaded for Yan Gomes. These are the extra pitches you talk about after an error. It's not only the run scoring potential, but it hurts the pitcher too.
Don Cooper has worn out that phone in this series. He's just shaking his head. He realizes that when you give a quality team more than the requisite 3 outs, you're flirting with danger.
Fry to Gomes. Strike 1. On the ground. That is a foul ball. Foul called by Muchlinski.
That missed by an eyelash. Mike is right on the line and said it went to the other side of the bag. We'll take another look. Very close, but foul.
Oh, and 2. Another foul grounder. Eric Gonzalez peppered with that one in the on deck circle. It's always a little confusing when you see even the home team not using the on deck circle where it's located.
That's prime territory for that behind you foul ball to a right hand hitter.
Two strikes. And Fry gets the swing and miss for strike 3. Gomes walks out of the circle, and Jace Fry pitches over the error. 9-0 Cleveland. Faster than dad. Derek Rodriguez, Pudge's son. 3 1/3, 4 strikeouts, and an RBI double as well. It took his father 4 at-bats to get his first major league hit. Derek did it much quicker. And congratulations to the progeny of a Hall of Famer, Derek Rodriguez, with his first hit.
Pudge probably wondering where he went wrong. His son's a pitcher. As Jeff Beliveau comes into the game, we did see him for one hitter. And it was a hit and a run in last night's game.
Well, look, if your son's a pitcher and you're a Hall of Fame catcher, he's probably got a little smarts in terms of how to attack hitters, you'd imagine.
You would think, and shown he was a pretty good hitter to go with it.
By the way, Pudge Rodriguez got his first major league hit against the White Sox. It came against Melito Perez back in '91. Told by our director Jim Angio that he believes Pudge Rodriguez got married that morning and then showed up to play the game.
Short honeymoon.
Very short. I would say we're about to play another game of Is This True, but I believe everything Jim Angio says, so.
Well, that's your first mistake.
He doesn't sound as confident as he's talking to me in my ear, but we're going to stick with it. One of the better games we play, I think. Is this true?
Yeah. Good time for it. Kluber, however, is out of the game, which is always nice. He went 6 innings and didn't give up much. 3 hits, no runs, no walks, which is his pattern of pitching, with 10 strikeouts. And Terry Francona decided that he had seen him throw enough pitches for one day.
Sox agreed with that decision as of this morning around 11 o'clock. 43rd career 10-plus strikeout game for Corey Kluber. And by the way, when we do play Is This True, if you find evidence either for or to the contrary of what we're talking about, you can use the hashtag Is This True on Twitter.
And then it will get to you?
Oh, it'll get to us.
Okay.
3-2. That is ball 4, I believe. Jose? Yeah, you can go. Join us at Guaranteed Rate Field as the Sox take on the Tigers Saturday, June 16th, 1:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans receive a White Sox Hawaiian floppy hat presented by Beggar's Pizza. Visit whitesox.com to buy your tickets today.
Give you an idea how confident Terry Francona is in that pen. One walk by Beliveau, and the pen is up and going.
Well, look, Belivo's faced 2 batters now in the last 2 days. He's given up a homer and a walk. Daniel Polka hard on the ground, and it could be 2. It is 2. Ramirez covering from the third base side of second.
The rare 4-5-3 double play, and that was a dandy of a play. That ball was hit very hard. We'll watch it again. Kipnis to his left. Gets the throw dug out by Ramirez, who is a shortstop by trade, by the way, so this is not foreign to him. And gets rid of it quickly, and that's 2.
Base is clear. Matt Skoll, who's twice gone the opposite way in the game, and the Indians maintain their pull side shift on the infield for him and the outfield. Oh, and 2. Skoll.
He almost came out of his shoes with that swing. That was a hanging breaking ball, and he let it all go and then had to make an adjustment on the shin guard.
Two strikes on Skoll. He and Daniel Polka at Georgia Tech referred to themselves as the Bash Brothers. They had something called the Bash Club in Atlanta for Georgia Tech, and you can only join when you hit 15 home runs.
It's a nice club to belong to.
Skoll in the air back of home. Yan Gomes for out number 3. Stretch time in Cleveland. Indians up big.
Presented by Coors Light. Head over to the Whistle in Oak Lawn and put your sports trivia knowledge to the test for a chance to take home some cash. Nachos. You can't beat artificial cheese.
Great words to live by, Steve.
I would say the folks in Wisconsin, where Tom Hamilton is from, probably would argue with that. As Nate Jones comes into the game on for the 21st time. It's 2-1 with an ERA just above 3.25.
Indians have done it today with predominantly the single. 12 hits on the board, a double and 2 home runs, but everything else little nicks in terms of bases, at least. Some hard hits, some not. And Eric Gonzalez to lead off the 7th, and there's strike 1. We are in the former home of the all-time doubles leader in Major League Baseball, Tris Speaker. They have 2 of the top 7, in fact, used to play for Cleveland. Matt Lajoie as well. There's Tris Speaker.
Serious fellow.
Peering out over the grandstand. That will remain a foul ball. 792 doubles in those eyes. Are you trying to find him like I am too? I don't know where that is in the ballpark.
Neither do I. I can see the retired numbers. Bob Feller, Luke Boudreau, Earl Averill, Bob Lemon, Mel Harder, Larry Doby, Frank Robinson, and a couple others hiding.
Yeah, there are pennants in right field. Huh. Did Jim Angio just create that?
Could be. That's the virtual Tris Speaker.
3 balls, 2 strikes. We're going to zoom in. Oh, it's up. Part of the wallpaper in the top level. Now I see. Ball 4 outside. Leadoff walk for Gonzalez. MLB at Bat is your #1 White Sox app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get White Sox home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Now we head back to the top of this order that's been so destructive, not only today, but the entire series.
Allen, Brantley, Ramirez today at the top. And Nate Jones trying to find that consistent command. As we've said, when Nate throws strikes, he's really tough to get to.
Stuff is certainly good enough.
Allen, Brantley, Ramirez, Encarnacion, and Alonso have scored 8 of the 9 runs in this game for Cleveland. First base and foul. Elsewhere in baseball today, the Red Sox lead the Blue Jays 6-2 in the 9th. And St. Louis and Milwaukee tied at 1 in the 7th.
Now it's 2-1 St. Louis. How about that?
Really?
Yep. You have a very slow iPad. You should have paid the extra price. I'm telling you. Those $12 iPads just don't update themselves quickly.
Well, I knew it was a problem when there was cardboard chipping off of it. 1 down. Let's tell you about some White Sox history. And it's a roof shot. Gotta love a roof shot. Pudge against Kansas City, May 30th, 1985. How many TV broadcasts around Major League Baseball had both Pudges in their show? Carlton Fisk off the roof And the fireworks explode. You know, Babe Ruth had the first one. First roof shot. 1927, as the story goes. How many did you give up?
Well, I was disappointed because Jim Rice, who hit me so very well, at 21 for 37, hit one in the center field stands. It was 463 in the center field stands before they had the inner fence all the way around. And literally, a fan had the ball and dropped it, and they said that it was not a home run but a triple. I thought, if you're going to throw him really long, I would have liked to seen that a home run because he scored probably anyway. But that was disappointing. Yeah, that was a blast. But I didn't give up any roof shots, I don't believe, although Reggie Jackson came very close.
How close?
I never got either of them out. Oh, like the back 5 rows.
Would you rather give one up or not?
Oh, if you're going to give up a home run, give up a long one. Don't give up like a first row shot. That's embarrassing. But, you know, if a guy really hits it hard, you applaud him for it.
I'm going to steal one of your lines. For you kids watching today, give up real long homers.
Well, if you're going to give up homers, why not?
1 and 2, yank foul.
Because you don't remember all of those first row shots you give up. You remember the real long ones.
Yeah. We never show you in White Sox history. Here's a home run that got carried over the wall by the wind.
Or carried over the wall off the head of Jose Canseco or the glove of Pat Kelly, who threw it out of the ballpark.
Daniel Palka charging in, tried to backhand it, and that was not a good plan. 2 on, 1 out.
Daniel coming on and can't get to it. So Rajay Davis has a hit.
There's strike 1 to Ramirez. Sox will be off tomorrow. Then 3 with Milwaukee back at home before another road trip to Minneapolis and Boston. Take a look at the projected starters brought to you by Verizon. Hector Santiago, Chase Anderson dueling in game 1. Anderson got jumped on last time out, but a 4.42 ERA even so. Two and 1 on Ramirez. Towering pop-up. Yolmer makes the call and is in there to make the catch for round number 2. The National League Central is rather bunched up behind the division leading Brewers. 3.5 on the Cubs, 4 on the Cardinals. Pirates have dropped to 6 behind.
Brewers currently losing that one in the bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee.
Do you have another updated score?
Nope, just 2-1 still. Has yours switched over yet?
Oh yeah, it's 2-1.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you for asking. Roberto Perez is going to get a swing here. So Lindor's off day seems to be the only off day offensively for Cleveland. He's in for Encarnacion.
Perez started the ball game yesterday and had a couple of hits and a run scored.
Engel started back. Now he trots in, and he and Trace Thompson meet. Trace makes the catch. We'll go to the 8th. Start your comeback today. That's coincidental at best. By visiting Athletico.com to request your complimentary injury screening for your throat and have your pain or injury assessed by our experts for free. Athletico, the official physical therapy provider of the Chicago White Sox. Athletico, better for everybody.
This is an emotional game, and I know you're getting choked up, so.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'll talk about the new pitcher,
Thanks,
Evan
buddy.
Marshall. By the way, it's tied up 2-2 in Milwaukee, and Evan Marshall comes on with an 11.25 ERA. First game of the series, he threw an inning and a third and came out of it relatively unscathed.
All right, I'm good to go.
Great.
Got Misty in here. Evan Marshall to Tim Anderson, strike one.
Tim has one of the 3 hits today and the only extra base hit.
Oh, 1. Line to left field and a base hit for Tim Anderson. He is into second base.
Couple of doubles today, 2 for 3 for Tim. Ramirez playing him too low. Tries to get up, but cannot keep it out of the outfield.
Darn that shift, playing too low.
That's what happens. He's usually in Toronto, but on the disabled list.
It's true. That's what Steve refers to as the A material. Here's Narvaez.
What we got left at this point. We've emptied the bag.
Omar takes a called strike one.
We still have the Miller Lite moment, though.
Hold true.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Just like we promised you earlier in the game.
You're just going to have to read it again, so you might as well cease and desist. 0-1. Guided on the ground. And Gonzalez. You mentioned emptying the bag. Would you like paper or plastic? Because we're going shopping at the swap meet. Chris Kamka, Midwest Research Bureau Chief. You pick first. Who do you want?
Well, you always get this wrong, and I'll tell you what.
There's no wrong.
I'm going to take me on the left. And you take the other one and you'll get it right, because whoever it is, it's on the right, because those are, I believe, my numbers on the left.
Those are your numbers?
Yep.
You bought yourself?
Well, I did. I couldn't very well sell you to me. So there you go. Or sell me to you or something like that.
It's a first. It's a swap meet first. Steve Stone, we think, has purchased himself.
I believe those are my numbers. I remember the strikeouts. The ERA below 4. I was very happy with that. That's why I retired before it got up a little higher, because I didn't have much left toward the end.
So you're saying that you're one of those guys that if you had the lead for the batting title and it was the last day of the season and you could only lose it, you would have said, hey, Skip.
No, I'd have gutted it out. I'd have gone out there just like Ted Williams in that doubleheader where he hit 407, I believe. They 406 that year.
41.
Yeah. Yep. I would have absolutely gone out there and played the doubleheader. I'd have pitched the doubleheader.
Okay. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Did Steve stuff himself into a bag? Let's find out. All right. Let's go to the checkout counter and see. Wow, you and Alex Fernandez. I think I won.
How about that? Well, he's got better ERA for a career. A few less losses. A few less innings. Giving up less hits, certainly. Yeah, less walks. Absolutely, you won. 4 strikeouts. You got the better of the deal.
All right, so let me ask you, would you take you or Alex Fernandez?
I would take Alex. Absolutely. Except for about a 1.5 year period. Then it'd have to take me.
Also available at the swap meet is the self-deprecation award.
Well, you got to look at things realistically.
But Cy Young's you got to beat.
Yeah, but Alex was a cold weather pitcher. Had he been born and raised in Cleveland, he'd have been a wonder.
What kind of weather pitcher were you?
A lot of runs weather pitcher. If they got me a lot of runs, I was fine.
The forecast depended on the run support?
Yep.
Anderson at third, 2 down. Who do you think, and we will figure out what the answer is based on the stats on a later telecast, who do you think you would be best compared to as a pitcher?
I don't know about the career numbers, but stuff-wise, the guy who came after me in Baltimore, a guy named Mike Boddicker, who was a mainstay on that 1983 World Series champion Oriole team.
You know why they won the World Series in '83?
Yeah, because I retired in '82.
No, it's because nobody signed a menu.
In '79?
In Pittsburgh at a restaurant. World Series champs before it was over.
Well, that was against Philadelphia. When they won it all.
Outside ball 4. Thompson takes a walk. Runners at the corners, 2 down for Moncada.
It really is amazing how easy Corey Kluber makes it look and how really difficult it is. When the great ones are pitching and their stuff is as good as Kluber's was today as it usually is, they do make it look easy. They just keep pumping strikes. They don't use the middle of the plate. They change speeds. They get everybody out. They strike out 10 in 6 innings, give up 3 hits, and probably on the way to a win.
And never once do you think, oh, he's lost his command.
No, he didn't even come close to losing his command.
Oh, and 2 on Moncada. Ball and 2 strikes to Yoan. Anderson at third, Thompson at first. This is the series finale. Indians going for the sweep today.
In pretty good shape for that.
Do you think?
Yep.
On the ground, right side, and foul. Now remember, back in 2001, the Indians were down, I think it was 12-0, and came back to beat the Mariners. So there have been major comebacks in this ballpark.
There have been.
Sometimes it's what you don't say that matters most.
Well, before Terry Francona lets this one slip away, you saw Trevor Bauer there. He'd probably come in this game.
One and two. In the dirt, there goes Trace, and he won't draw a throw. He's into second base.
That will be a wild pitch.
Two and two to go on. Downstairs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Mentioned that Brewers team that will be into Chicago. Tyler Saladino placed on the DL today. So Orlando Arcia comes back up from AAA, and he's given Milwaukee the lead in the 7th, 3-2. Unless Steve has a different score.
Oh, still 3-2. I'm surprised it is on your iPad, however.
Full count for Marshall. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, the one thing we did learn in this inning, though, is that Steve Stone will pay retail for one thing, himself.
Be quite a deal for Adam Eaton, who's been surgically repaired a couple of times with the Nationals. And Joakim Soria comes in the ball game on for the 19th time. There you look at the numbers: 20 strikeouts and 17 1/3 innings, but left-handers have hurt him.
with Corey Kluber on the mound facing Lopez today, and Lopez going 2 2/3, Kluber finishing 6 shutout, you look and you say, okay, well, their guy got the best of our guy. But Corey Kluber is a really, I think, important tale for anybody in Major League Baseball, not just a club that's rebuilding, but Kluber, as of 6 years ago, couldn't find his way into the rotation in Cleveland. He was in AAA. He was scuffling. There was some rumblings of possibly having him go to the bullpen in AAA, not even in the major leagues, which, as you know, that typically means, well,
you're going to be bullpen best when you get here.
Yeah.
And for him, at the time and even now, probably doesn't have closer stuff, but starter stuff is among the best in baseball.
In the air left field, Trace Thompson, route number 1. So we told you that in a future telecast we'd compare you and Mike Boddicker, but Dave Ross in the truck has sparks flying off his computer because here it is. He pitched a little bit longer, so
yes,
the hits are larger, but
fairly similar.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, what, 18 over? I was 14 over, so in the neighborhood, but his stuff was very similar to mine. In fact, Rick Dempsey, who did catch us both, was saying that it's almost like catching the same guy.
Really?
He had a really good changeup, and I could never master one of those, but he was a very good pitcher and a terrific guy, and I believe an Iowan.
a lot of great Sox fans in Iowa.
Great Sox fans.
And great Oriole pitchers, evidently.
Yep.
On the ground over the mound. Tim has time, and he has out number 2. Xfinity X1 customers say, show me the Chicago White Sox. Into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1.
By the way, Mike Boddicker did go to the University of Iowa. Some of my best friends went there. Fritz Gorin, who watches most every game, looking on in Scottsdale. Mike Gatens looking on in Iowa. Kerry Beyer looking on from some other planet.
You're so good to your people. By the way, we did have a Twitter follower play Is This True? And Jim Angio was right that Pudge Rodriguez got married actually in Tulsa the morning he was called up. Then went to Chicago, played against the Sox, and had his first career hit. So Jim is a perfect 1-for-1 in Is This True?
Very nice.
Yeah.
And Dave Ross, pretty much when he says it, Dave is in charge of graphics and accuracy in the truck. It's true.
One and 2 on Jason Kipnis. Shot to left field. Trace is back there to make the play. And a 1-2-3 8th inning. To the 9th we go. Sox need to bat around and have them all score. Let's do it.
and it's Corey Kluber. And what a day he had. Kluber, 6 strong innings of shutout baseball with just 3 hits, just 1 extra base hit, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. In line for win number 8. And Kluber departed, turned it over to the pen, and it's to the pen we stay. It's Ben Taylor. We saw him in this series on for the 6th time with 8 strikeouts and 5 innings.
He was a waiver claim by the Indians from the Red Sox after his major league debut season last year in 14 games for Boston. And he'll face Sanchez, Abreu, and Polka. Yolmer takes ball 1. Tim Anderson 2 doubles in the game. Moncada a single, Skoll a single, and Abreu with a walk along with Thompson's walk. Those are the only base runners for the Sox so far in the game. One. 2 balls and a strike on Sanchez. Now 2-2 for Yolmer. Right-hander out of the University of South Alabama, Ben Taylor. He's got a great monogram for the game he plays because his name is Benjamin Allen Taylor. His initials are BAT.
Not good for a pitcher.
Trying to miss bats. 3-2. Full count on Sanchez. That one slugged to right center field. Yolmer absolutely drills this ball out of here. So much for the shutout. Sanchez drives a solo homer in the 9th.
It's the 3rd home run. He's driven in 24 now. That puts him 2nd on the ball club in runs driven in. 4th home run replay, and this is a blast. Outfielders had very little chance to move. He got a fastball right down the middle and drove it way out.
And a big hug for Yolmer as Abreu takes ball 1. There's some power in that small frame.
Yolmer's had just a terrific year.
Seems like he's unmoored Taylor as well on the mound.
Get a little insecure when you throw one in the neighborhood and then it's cracked out of the ballpark.
Two 2-0. Fouled back by Jose. 2-1.
Our first audio tweet of this series.
Okay.
Jude Thomas lets us know that Mike Boddicker now lives in the Kansas City area and appears on KC Sports Radio. It says semi-regularly. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but regularly, but not quite regularly. Occasionally, sometimes.
I think you're getting closer. Keep going.
In the neighborhood.
Jose has decided to go button free on the top of the jersey for this last at bat. barring a rally, of course. Gonzalez at shortstop for out number 1.
Stepping into the box for Chicago, right fielder.
Been a tough series for Jose. He's going to have to wait till the next series coming back here to pick up his first hit of the year against the Tribe.
One out for Polka. Takes ball 1. Jose was swinging it as well as anybody in baseball entering this series. One and one. Taylor to Polka. High into the afternoon sky in Cleveland. And it's Yonder Alonso for out number 2. Well, earlier we played Is This True? And evidently we have a scoreboard for the season. I'm at 60%. Dave Ross, who built the graphic, is at 100%, and Jim Angio 1 for 1.
I'm only 90%. Wow. Been a struggling year.
It's an A-.
Never saw one of those in school.
We're all Hall of Famers, right?
60% in that game is just awful. That qualifies you to be dropped off the leaderboard.
I created the game and I'm in last place. How did that happen?
Well, I mean, that's just the way it is. You have to accept it and go on to the next creation.
Honestly, I think you influenced the judges that one time, but it's totally unfair, and I'm going to take the high road. 0-2 on Skoll. Sanchez, the home run in the inning. And Matt hits it in the air, left-hand side. And there is out number 3. The game's over, and the Indians effect a sweep behind Corey Kluber this afternoon.
One of those days where from the beginning you knew that Lopez would have to hold him close to have any shot against Kluber. That wasn't the case, as the Indians, as so many teams have done this year against our Sox, they got on the board in the first inning, and essentially those 2 runs were all that it took for the Indians to win this one. Kluber was just magnificent, as you would expect, and better luck against Milwaukee, but an off day tomorrow after 16 straight, so we will see you on the plane, young fellow.
Sounds good. See you there. See you back at home. We say goodbye from Cleveland as the Sox get on the board late.